Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Vesta in the second house in a natal chart. Now, where you have Vesta in your natal chart can show where you have a lot of power of concentration of power, where you don't generally allow extraneous things to interfere with what you're doing, where you're not deterred or you don't allow yourself to be diverted from. It could show the area in life where you have tremendous focus. Now, if you have Vesta in your second house, well, this could be connected with making money, generating income, things of a monetary nature in general, your financial acumen, possessions, accumulation of possessions, investments, your self-worth, your self-esteem, your tangible assets, and could be formulating financial plans as well. It could be just doing, you could show a lot of concentration of power and focus, and perhaps in stocks and bonds, for example, doing things that can increase your net worth, and also how your own worth and how you feel about yourself. Of course, a lot depends on the sign in your first house. If you have Sagittarius in the first house, of course, you could pursue matters of self-worth. If you have Vesta in the second house and it's in the sign Sagittarius, you could pursue matters of self-worth with a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm, and it might even be connected with doing things outdoors. Say in Virgo, it could be more health related, such as somebody working out vigorously to improve their own self-worth. Now, also where Vesta is placed in our natal chart can show where we have that, may make that rationalized and analyzed choice as far as a sexual partner goes. Now, if you have Vesta in the second house, this could be somebody that could be financially stable, somebody very astute economically, has good financial acumen, a person that's not going to be that dependent on you for finances, somebody that has very good self-worth and self-esteem. So obviously somebody that has a lot of confidence and self-assuredness, somebody that might really don't have a high, I guess you could say, opinion of themselves, or very doubtful of themselves. Now, this could be somebody then or lacks confidence or self-assuredness. This can make you a little bit despondent or dejected, because if you have Vesta in your second house in your natal chart, generally speaking, you're likely going to look for somebody that has a very more of a high regard of themselves, somebody that does have strong self-worth and has and good self-esteem. Now, anyway, where Vesta is placed on our natal chart can show where we have a lot of strong devotion and dedication to. Now, if you have Vesta in your second house, well, the first thing I think of is the devotion, dedication could be connected with generating income, making money, accumulating possessions, tangible assets, your things that are associated with values, your self-worth, your self-esteem, and really it's just very very strongly connected with money and things of a monetary nature, and it could be things that you and things that you possess, your possessions and the things that you value. Now, where Vesta is placed on our natal charts can also show where we want to be infallible and perfect, and hardly anybody is ever infallible or perfect in any way, shape, or form, but where Vesta is placed can show where you have that strong desire to at least be as close to infallible and perfect as possible. If you have it in the second house, this could be tied in with investments, your financial dealings, and the things that you put value in. Now, where Vesta is placed on our natal charts can also show where we don't want to be restricted, and this could be connected with income generated, the possessions we have, the financial acumen, and how we can really the best we could actually feel. Matters with our self-esteem, wanting to feel perhaps as good as you can about yourself, and this is where the areas generally you don't want to be restricted in. And anyway, keep in mind, as far as Vesta goes, where Vesta's place can show also where we need to extricate ourselves from and escape from time to time. I think a lot of it's attributed to the fact where Vesta is placed. We could put in a lot of abundance of focus and energy into, and if we don't get away from that from time to time, well, our energy can be dissipated and depleted. So, I mean, anything of a monetary nature, generating income, even matters pertaining to possessions. And I think people can get kind of burnt out on, as far as this placement goes, on things connected with what I just said. I mean, things that are associated just generally with money, the possessions, the things you value, tangible assets, and even matters connected with your self-esteem and self-worth, because sometimes too much of a good thing, it just can get a little bit monotonous, a little bit too much. Now, it's also important to look at the sign Vesta is in, as that could impact the placement. Now, let's say if you have, take an example, if you have, let's say you have Vesta in Pisces in your second house. Well, this could be a person that might put perhaps a lot of value and dedication, I should say. I mean, Vesta in the second house is about generating income. And if you have Vesta in Pisces in the second house, this could be somebody that might show a lot of that Vesta dedication and devotion to generating income, perhaps in connection, perhaps with the metaphysical, or something Piscean, like even some profession associated with the feet, oceanography, chemistry, something that would be a little bit more Piscean. And keep in mind that Pisces is a sign that is not really that strongly connected with materialism. So I think for that example with Pisces, I think there wouldn't be as much of an emphasis on the materialistic side of things as opposed to other placements for Vesta in the second house. Now, it's also important to look at the aspects, if any, that are made to Vesta in the second house, as this could impact the delineation description. Now, let's say if you have Pluto making an adverse aspect to your Vesta in the second house, let's say Pluto makes either a square, opposition, or even an inconjunct to it. Well, this could give some kind of, at times in extreme cases, compulsive, obsessive tendencies, perhaps in matters connected with generating income. Now, the person with Vesta in the second house, if they had Pluto making an adverse aspect to it, there still could be a very strong dedication and devotion to generating income and making money, but at the same time, they might become overly obsessed and fixated with it. And it also could be that dedication, devotion to their possessions can go a little overboard, where maybe it can almost become like at least close to a compulsive hoarder syndrome if you have Pluto making an adverse aspect to it. Now, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Vesta in the second house in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be talking about Vesta in the third house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel, but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.